Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Is this thing on? Yes, it is. Welcome to Open Floor. I am your host, Aaron Simpson. Ace is what people call me. You can refer to me as Aaron or Ace. It's whatever. We're family. We're bros. We're brothers and sisters here. Well, you be the sister, I be the brother. If you're new to this podcast, if you're new to this YouTube channel, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and leave some comments in the comment section. If you are a first-time listener or if you've been listening for the last few episodes and you haven't subscribed to where you're listening to your podcast, it would mean the world to me if you would do that. And it would mean even more of the world to me if you leave a 5-star review. Now, if you're one of those people that says, well, I left you 4 stars because there's always room for improvement, I don't want that. I want your 5 stars only. Okay? I want your greatest review only. All right. So thank you for that in advance. Now let's get into it. I got something I want to get off my chest, and I've been thinking about this for a while. I've been talking to the homies, the group chats about this. For those of you that don't know, I'll be 39 April 17th. April 17th, I'll be 39 years old. It's my last year of my 30s. And I made a promise to myself that I'm going to spend my last year of my 30s doing things I normally wouldn't do, taking some chances, taking some calculated risks. One of them, I got a head start up, which is starting this YouTube channel and podcast. Now, I've had a podcast before that was very successful. At one point, it was a top 100 podcast in my space, which is fantastic. I did that within a few months. I still have plans to bring that podcast back, but what has really been on my heart for the longest time is to talk about what I really, really enjoy talking about, which is pop culture, sports, culture, the state of the world. Don't talk about politics too much, but this is what I really, really love. Since I was a kid, I love talking about movies, TV shows, sports, professional wrestling. Like that's been my jam, right? But I do that when the camera's not on, with my family, with my friends. And I'm challenging myself to bring that into a public space. So that's what this podcast, what this YouTube channel is for, is bringing my passions, the things that I love, the things that I look forward to watching and talking about, and bringing it to a public platform like this. So I say that to say, one of my earliest memories of being the youngest brother of 6 is watching wrestling. Saturday morning, turning on TV in the early 90s. I was born in 1987, so we're talking 1990, 1991. We're talking Hulkamania running wild, brother. And sitting around my parents' bedroom with my brothers, who are all older than me, watching pro wrestling. Getting the pay-per-views. I remember going to some of the pay-per-views when they came to Detroit. I went to Survivor Series, I believe it was 1991. That was when Undertaker beat Hulk Hogan for the heavyweight championship, and I cried like a baby when that happened. It's also when Jake the Snake Roberts came out, and I was scared, and I started crying. And when the Undertaker came out and the lights went out, I really was terrified and started crying. I probably cried 4 times that night. But I've been a professional wrestling fan as far as I can remember. When I got into high school, probably around 14, 15 years old, which was around 2002, 2003 is probably when I kind of faded out. That's when Austin retired. That's when Rock went Hollywood. Hogan came back and then he left pretty much. And that whole ruthless aggression era, that John Cena, Batista era, I was out. Wasn't watching it. I was playing basketball. I was not in wrestling at all. Fast forward to 2010, Rock comes back. 2000 and what is that? 2011, I'm sorry, he comes back. He's at WrestleMania 2012, 2013. And ever since then, I've kind of been back on the bandwagon. I don't watch it all the time, but I'm very aware. I'm reading the dirt sheets. I do watch Raw pretty much every Monday. I don't watch SmackDown for whatever reason, but I do watch Raw. So I've been a huge fan my whole life. I went to the Survivor Series where Austin got hit by the car. I was there because that happened in Detroit in Survivor Series 1999. I was there for that. What else was I there for? I went to 2023 at Ford Field in Detroit, where it was Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. I've been at house shows. I was at World War III I believe that was 1999, 98. It came to Detroit. I was there for that. That was dope. That's when they had 3 rings in WCW. Like that was cool. So again, I've been a huge fan my whole life. I had the action figures. I had the belts. I had me and my friends would have wrestling parties where we would have, makeshift cardboard boxes, tables being broken, chairs, the couch pillows. Outside was the wrestling ring. Like I was just all the video games, No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000, Revenge, WrestleMania, the arcade game, Royal Rumble on Sega Genesis. Like I've been a wrestling fan my whole life, dog. Like don't come at me, bro. So I think that gives me a lot of leeway, in my opinion, and my thoughts on things, because I've been a fan for damn near 35 years. I think out of all the WrestleManias I've seen and all the WrestleManias that I've paid attention to the buildup, WrestleMania 42 might be one of the, if not the worst, WrestleMania buildups I can remember. And I don't know. It feels like to me that they are making everything up in real time. It doesn't feel cohesive. It doesn't feel like they're building anything with storylines. It kind of just feels like they're just throwing stuff together and seeing what the fans react to and then going from there. I was watching HBO Max and I'm looking at the mirror there. There is a still of a documentary, The Secrets of the 12 Tribes Cult is right there. And I just see like a man and a little baby right here. That looks kind of weird. So for those of you that are listening in podcast land, it's kind of weird, but we're rocking with it. I think this is one of the worst WrestleMania builds of all time. Not that the matches are bad, okay? I want to be clear. It's not that the matches are bad. And I always, from my music to movies to wrestling, to me, the stories matter. The storylines matter. Why are we doing what we are doing? Why is this person after what they're after? What is the hurdle? What is the obstacle that's in the way? And I feel like the characters that are involved in these matches at WrestleMania, they mostly don't have any storylines. They're kind of just in these matches. And I'm not going to go through all the matches. I'm just going to go off the top of my head. Like when I think of Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, apparently they're going to be main eventing night 1 of WrestleMania, which is also weird because, and I don't want this to be something where I feel like I'm just coming down on the company. I love WWE, but I'm just being honest as a fan. I just don't think they're really grabbing my attention. For the WWE Championship to not be on the night 2 of WrestleMania is very concerning for me. And I get it. They're still main eventing WrestleMania. And I get it. It's just like, it's Roman, CM Punk. But the title is the most important thing that the company has. The lineage of the title, who's held the title. I don't care if this is a world heavyweight championship that CM Punk has. The WWE Championship is the most important title in the company. That is the title that has the lineage, not the World Heavyweight Championship. And I get that they're trying to make the belt feel as important as the WWE Championship, but no matter how important it feels, no matter who's holding the belt, it's never going to be as important as the WWE Championship. The WWE Championship should always be the main event. This is one of the biggest problems I have with WWE. The WWE Championship should always be the main event. Always. If the champion is on the card, they should be the main event. They should not be opening up a pay-per-view. They should not. Unless there is a match that is non-title, okay? Or if there is a women's match for a title that is super mage, right? Unless it's Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Because in my opinion, The women have been holding the WWE down the last 2 years, especially the 2025-2026 year. The women have been holding it down. Io Sky is the MVP of WWE, baby. Every match she puts on is a banger. Everybody she gets in the ring with, it's a banger. Her and Rhea Ripley are stars. Treat them as such, my dog. So unless it's them, every time the WWE champion is in a match, it should go last. But they're going to go last night one. You need to go last night two. That is the main belt. And you would think that with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, two people that have, out of everybody that is wrestling at WrestleMania, nobody has a better built-in story than these two. And every single time they're on TV, there's no story that's being told. They're not talking to each other. In my opinion, this story at this very moment did not need Randy Orton to turn heel to tell a good story. If anything, keeping Randy babyface and keeping Cody babyface and letting the crowd tell you who they want to win or who they're behind makes the match even more must see. It's kind of like, but not the same, but it's kind of like WrestleMania 6 Hogan Warrior. Your two top babyfaces are wrestling in the main event at WrestleMania, and the fans are going to let you know who they're behind. But making Randy heel to make Kobe babyface, to have a clear babyface and heel, to me, diminishes Cody and it diminishes Randy. They don't need a babyface and a heel in this feud. They need just Cody and Randy. Because both of them have babyface things in this relationship, and both of them have heel things in this relationship. Both of them have been good for one another, and both of them have been bad for one another. Both of them have great history together, and both of them have horrible history. There's a lot of things that you can pull from these two that doesn't need to be a good guy versus bad guy, but two men that have known each other since they were very young, that are now grown, they're married, they have kids, they've matured, they've gone on their own journey, they've come, they've gone, and they're back. This is, to be honest with you, the match that is the most necessary and the match that makes the most sense since Cody came back to WWE. This is the match. It's not Roman. It's not Punk. It's not The Rock. It's Randy. This is the match that really is the full circle moment for Cody Rhodes. And I can't understand for the life of me why they're not telling this story. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't watch SmackDown. Okay? I don't know what's all being said, but I've seen the clips. I've seen the videos. And to be honest with you, it feels forced. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel authentic. Why are these two fighting each other? Why? Now, Roman and CM Punk makes sense. That makes sense why these guys are throwing hands and throwing blows weeks before WrestleMania. I get that. But Randy and Cody don't need to touch. They don't. They need to talk. Build it up. Like the Rhodes family, the Orton family, there's so many layers to this. The legacy thing, there's so many layers to this, and it's like they're not even talking about it, right? And so when I'm thinking about night one of WrestleMania, which I think based on who's wrestling and the history between the two and the title that's up for grabs, it should, without question, headline night two, without question, but it's not. Now, granted, Roman is the most popular wrestler in WWE, so it seems. But the title should be the most over thing in wrestling, not the wrestler. Because when the wrestler comes and goes, the title remains. It's like basketball, right? Nobody should be bigger than the game because once they leave the game remains. And this is my biggest issue with basketball right now is basketball, the players' brands seem to have more value than the league itself. And so you have players that are hopping all over the place. The viewership of the league is inconsistent. It is not growing as much as is football and baseball. And I think a lot of it has to do because the players seem to care more about personal brand than the league itself. That's what it seems like to me. But that's another episode and another podcast, another YouTube video. WrestleMania 42 to me seems very mid. And it's not because of the matches that are there, it's the buildup or lack thereof. So you got Cody and then you got Randy. And then on the other side, which seems to be headline night 2, you have Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Now, to be fair, I think this feud has picked up and has got me more interested than weeks before. But there are things that's going on with these two that does not make sense to me. So, for example, this is Tuesday, March 31st. So, yesterday on Raw, wow, I just tapped the phone and it says 316. How crazy is that, right? And so, last Monday, the Usos are basically telling, mainly Jay is telling Roman, go get him, go smash him, go kill him, go hurt him, right? So he does it. But this week, Roman comes out, then Punk comes out with his signature, you know I'm ready for a fight when I'm coming down the aisle, wrapping my hands up. Does that thing. They start throwing blows. Roman gets his ass beat, and somehow CM Punk is able to powerbomb Roman through a table, and the Usos are nowhere to be found. It's not consistent. So one week, you want Roman to beat him up. The next week, he's getting beat up, and you don't show up. And then the whole thing with Roman's dad, we never really got that confrontation, or he's never really addressed that. The Usos have, Roman hasn't. And let me say this about Roman Reigns. I know this is coming across as if I'm hating on WWE now. I'm not. I'm just giving you my opinion and how I'm feeling in this very second. To go back to what I was saying earlier about storylines, okay, as someone that loves movies and film, character development is very important in how the story arc goes, okay? The one thing I told my friends and just thinking out loud, the thing that I was the most concerned about once Roman's tribal chief of the bloodline era ended, he lost the title, WrestleMania, and he was kind of on his own. One of the things I was the most concerned with was, could he carry a promo and a story on his own without relying being the tribal chief? Because to be honest with you, in my opinion, number one, the tribal chief thing only matters to the Samoan family. It doesn't matter to anybody outside of that. Like, what does Roman Reigns care about him being the tribal chief? That doesn't matter. However, the tribal chief title carried way more weight when Roman was the Universal Champion. Okay? It carried more weight, and the aesthetic of him having the belts, having the bloodline behind him, having Paul Heyman next to him, and him calling himself the tribal chief was way more aesthetically pleasing. It carried way more weight. And it gave Roman the ability to say a lot without saying anything because the titles and the labels and what was happening behind him spoke for itself. Now he's by himself. Now he has to tell a story on his own. And my biggest thing with Roman Reigns is this. In the history of film and movies, in the history of professional wrestling, the best characters or the best professional wrestlers that are on the Mount Rushmore list. So we're talking the Austins, the Rocks, the Hogans, the HBKs, the Flairs, like people like that. Their character at some point had some kind of vulnerability, right? In order for a storyline to really hit home, you have to be able to see yourself in a character. You have to be able to make people feel like oh, I understand why they're upset, or I would have done the same thing if I were them, or that would have made me upset too. You have to be able to take people on an emotional roller coaster. And the majority of the back and forth with Punk and Roman Reigns has been, I'm the best wrestler in the world, and you're going to see that at WrestleMania. I'm going to smash you at WrestleMania and end this horrible title run. That's pretty much been it. And so my thing with Roman Reigns is, when CM Punk is being emotional and sharing his vulnerabilities and sharing his weaknesses and sharing his heart on his sleeve, it's very hard to tell a story when Roman's response is, you're old, I'm just going to smash you like I smashed the rest of them. Pause. Like, that doesn't bring me in. Now, it's a match I want to see because I've never seen these two in the ring before, but it's not a match I care about. Does that make sense? I want to see the match, but I'm not really emotionally invested. Because I think what this feud needs, it needs to find what is Roman's vulnerability. Because clearly it's not his family. Clearly he doesn't care about his cousins. He doesn't even care about someone mentioned his dead dad. So if family is not going to be the thing that makes him seem vulnerable, it's not even about necessarily him showing emotion. It's about him having a vulnerability. I think the thing that Roman cares the most about is not his family. It's not the fact that he's a part-timer. I think what it is he cares the most about power. Get your cousin out of my ring. When I'm here, the attendance goes up. I need to be the champion because you can't carry this company like I could. WWE needs me to save it because none of you guys on both of these shows has the ratings that I had. I'm the tribal chief. I think what he cares the most about is power. This is why I believe if you really want to make this storyline great, you go one of two ways. Number one, you bring the bloodline back together and somehow, some way you connect this to The Rock. That's number one. Or number two, Roman goes on a complete spiral. I think he should lose at WrestleMania. And I think this should start the beginning of who is Roman Reigns really. This isn't about Roman Reigns. And this is the part where I was a little upset with the whole thing with him and Punk, was because Roman kept responding that this is beneath me. I don't need to talk to him about this. I'm going to smash him at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, the character, should respond that way. But Joe should not. Roman Reigns should put up the front that this doesn't bother me. I'm going to get an apology for y'all, but I don't need one. Joe Anoa'i, oh, he should be pissed. He should be taking it personal. He should be demanding an apology. Man to man, Joe to Phil. This is the reason why, not to get sidetracked, this is the exact reason why Drake lost the battle with Kendrick. Drake was trying to out-song Kendrick. Kendrick was trying to get to Aubrey. The reason why Drake didn't win the battle is because Drake was responding as Drake and not responding as Aubrey. If he would have responded as Aubrey, things would have been different. I'm not saying he would have won the battle, but it would have been way more interesting. And it's the same thing that I'm noticing with Roman Reigns and CM Punk. It's too much Roman. It's not enough Joe. Because here's the thing, too. Roman is calling CM Punk old. Like, we don't see the grays in Roman's beard and the grays in his hair. He's calling Punk old like he's also not in his 40s. So I'm not really fully understanding what the story is between these two, but I'm more interested in this match than I am with Cody and Randy, just off the strength at least they're trying to tell a story. And don't even let me get into, the Obafemi Brock Lesnar. I get it. Like, you need to have two meaty men bumping meat. I'm all for that. But the Gunther Seth Rollins thing is just like, what are we doing? It's just like, what is the point of this? Unless Gunther is joining the Vision, which I don't think he would do, or he made a promise or a deal with Paul Heyman in some kind of way that if he were to beat Seth Rollins and keep Seth Rollins away, maybe Brock made a deal with Gunther to say, hey, you take care of Seth Rollins, I'll give you Brock Lesnar and you can retire him. That would be interesting, especially if Brock Lesnar has no idea what's going on with that. But just throwing Gunther and Seth Rollins in this like 2 weeks before WrestleMania with no story is just like, what are we doing? We got 2 Raws to make this work. Of course, it's going to be a great match between 2 of the top workers in wrestling, but there's no story. The entire time Gunther has been a heel in WWE, Seth Rollins has pretty much been a heel too. It doesn't make any sense. I just don't get it. I don't understand what they're doing. And it seems like they're just figuring it out on the fly. And then, the whole thing with Cody Rhodes and Stephanie McMahon to start off Raw, I thought that was excellent, right? But then it's like, why is Triple H coming out here to separate Brock Lesnar and Obafemi? Like, why every single time somebody gets into it, Adam Pearce throws out security? Like, the security doesn't work. We don't believe it. Stop doing that. Promise you, I love WWE. But what they're doing right now, I don't understand it. I don't get it. It's like they don't think that we know what's up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you guys can get more creative than this. Why is Brock Lesnar in the ring the first 2 or 3 times he came across Obafemi? Obafemi is in his wrestling gear. What is the point of that? Why are you putting on your wrestling gear and you have no match? The only reason you should have wrestling gear on is if you're John Cena and if you have a match. If you don't, you should be in regular clothes. In conclusion, I want to do a new segment called The Clear Out. And for those of you that don't know what clear out means, that means in basketball, get out of the way, I'm about to get a bucket. Get out of the way, clear out, I'm going one-on-one in this joint. All right? So this segment is basically about a hot take. So I'm clear out, I got something to say. And my clear out moment of today is this. People have been asking the question, well, who is Randy Orton talking to? People have mentioned The Rock has been pretty much the number one guest. People have mentioned Y2K. Even one of my friends today said something I never thought about. He said Randy's been talking to himself. It's the voices calling him. I noticed some things on Raw. Stephanie McMahon comes out and interrupts Cody Rhodes. For what? Why is Stephanie telling Cody, hey, the version that you can't beat the version that Randy is. Where have you been the last year? Okay. Triple H coming out of nowhere. We never see him on TV. And he's coming out between Brock Lesnar and Obafemi. Okay. Stephanie mentions, hey, Cody, you're not your dad. And Cody said, well, Steph, with all due respect, you're not yours either. So it got me thinking. Stephanie also mentioned her grandfather. This is the house that my grandfather built. Cody says, you're not your father. Stephanie is in the ring. And Triple H got in the ring. And if you remember that first SmackDown where Cody's on the phone and he says, there's more than one royal family. My clear out take is this. I don't think Randy's talking to Rock. I don't think he's talking to Chris Jericho. I don't think he's talking to some random ass voices. I don't think he's talking to Vince. I think he's talking to Shane. I don't know how this is going to connect, but I think the person that Randy is talking to is Shane McMahon. And I don't know where this is leading. I don't know where it's going to go, but it's no coincidence that Stephanie mentioned her grandfather. Cody mentioned her dad. They're in Madison Square Garden, where WWE is the home of. Triple H comes out. The only person left that wasn't mentioned or talked about or seen is Shane. So I think Shane is going to be involved in this in some kind of way. I don't know how. Maybe we'll figure it out at some point, but that's my clear out take. Randy's not talking to The Rock. He's not talking to Y2J. He's not talking to the voices in his head. The man is talking to Shane McMahon. Those are my thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the podcast. Listen, we got 2 weeks to figure this out. There's still some time. But man, I'm saying as a fan, since I was 4 years old, I'll be 39. And the day before WrestleMania starts, I'll be 39 years old. I'm just saying I'm concerned and I think we could do better. But we still got some time to figure it out. All right. Until next time, be safe, be blessed, and I'll see you soon. Peace.